After studying this module, you shall be able to know the objective of factor extraction, know how to extract factors using the centroid condensation, identify the number of factors that can be extracted, and understand the use of Fructer formula, eigenvalue index, and residual correlation matrix for extraction of factors. The purpose of factor analysis is to identify salient features that account for the majority of the variance of a group of scores on different tests. This module delves into the intricacies of factor extraction by the centroid condensation method. It aims at understanding the purpose of factor extraction, how many factors can be extracted using the Fructer formula, eigenvalue index, and the residual correlation matrix. Let us first understand the history of centroid condensation. Thurston developed the centroid method of factor extraction in the 1930s for his major factor analytic studies. This time was prior to the age of electronic computers and used mechanical desk calculators to perform the needed computations. There was a need for simple procedures and the centroid method filled this need. Thurston developed the centroid method using a geometric view involving a configuration of vectors to represent the attributes. The centroid vector is the mean vector through which a centroid axis is passed. This is a centroid factor with the orthogonal projections of attribute vectors on it being the factor weights. One factor is extracted at a time and a residual correlation matrix is computed. The next factor is extracted from the residual matrix and a further residual matrix is computed. Thus, there is a series of residual correlation matrices with a centroid factor extracted from each residual matrix. One of the problems is that the configuration of vectors frequently has vectors played out in many directions. This is true of many correlation matrices among personality traits and is almost always true of residual correlation matrices. As a consequence, there is a need to reverse sum of vectors to obtain a more stable centroid. This is the sign change procedure. Factor extraction is continued until the residual correlations become small enough to be ignored and resulting factors have only quite small factor weights. For extraction of factors, the basic data required is the correlation matrix. For any correlation matrix that is derived either from test scores or values, the diagonal cell values are empty. These cells can either hold the reliabilities of the test or the estimates of communalities or all 1.00 values. The diagonal values are all 1.00 in Hotelling's principal axis method, whereas in Thurston's centroid method, the communalities are placed in the diagonal cells of the correlation matrix to calculate the factors. The choice of the values to be used in the diagonal cells affects the number of factors extracted as well as the loadings of each factor on each test. Extraction of factors using the centroid method. To understand Thurston centroid condensation method to extract factors, consider the correlation matrix RJJ given. So, for test 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the different factor loadings are 0.54, 0.50, 0.23, 0.39, 0.28 and 0.50, 0.49, 0.31, 0.47 and 0.37, 0.23, 0.31, 0.54, 0.60, 0.39, 0.39, 0.47, 0.60, 0.74, 0.59 and 0.28, 0.37, 0.39, 0.59 and 0.77. We add the values column wise and row wise and denote by symbol C and summation respectively to calculate the grand total. The summation of each of these tests row wise for first test is 0.54 plus 0.50 plus 0.23 plus 0.39 plus 0.28, making it equal to 1.94. For the second test, 0.50 plus 0.49 plus 0.31 plus 0.47 plus 0.37 is equal to 2.14. 0.23 plus 0.31 plus 0.54 plus 0.60 plus 0.39 is equal to 2.07 for test 3. For test 4, 0.39 plus 0.47 plus 0.60 plus 0.74 plus 0.59 is equal to 2.79. 0.28 plus 0.37 plus 0.39 plus 0.59 plus 0.77 is 2.40 for test wise. The total of each of these correlations in the test is same for the columns as well as the row, and therefore the grand total is 11.34. One can also verify whether the test values have been calculated correctly by ensuring that the row sum and the column sums are both equal. Step 2. Find the value of n by the following formula, which is n is equal to 1 divided by under root gt, where gt is the grand total. Since the grand total was 11.34, therefore n is equal to 1 divided by under root of 11.34, and the value of under root 11.34 is 3.37. Therefore, n is equal to 1 divided by 3.37, which is equal to 0.297. Step 3. Now we multiply each column sum with n to get the first factor loadings Li of each test. That is, mathematically Li is equal to capital C multiplied by n. For test 1, the factor loadings L1 is equal to 1.94 multiplied by 0.297, which is equal to 0.58. For test 1, L2 is equal to 2.14 into 0.297, which is equal to 0.64. For test 1, L3 is equal to 2.07 multiplied by 0.297, which is equal to 0.62. For test 1, L4 is equal to 2.79 into 0.297, which is equal to 0.83. For test 1, L5 is equal to 2.40 multiplied by 0.297, which is equal to 0.71. Step 4. To obtain the second factor loadings, one has to first find the cross product matrix. List all the first factor loadings on the horizontal and vertical side of a table. Multiply corresponding rows and columns to obtain the cross product matrix. Li test 1 factor loading 0.58, 0.64, 0.62, 0.83, 0.71. Therefore, the cross product matrix are 0.34, 0.37, 0.36, 0.48, 0.41, 0.37, 0.41, 0.40, 0.53 and 0.45. 0.36, 0.40, 0.38, 0.52 and 0.44. 0.48, 0.53, 0.52, 0.69 and 0.60, 0.41, 0.45, 0.44, 0.60 and 0.50. The first factor residual is step 5. To find the first factor residual, subtract the first factor cross product matrix Lij from the original correlation matrix Rij. The residual matrix is equal to correlation matrix minus the cross product matrix, and therefore for test 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, the first factor residual matrix is 0.20, 0.13, minus 0.13, minus 0.09 and minus 0.13, 0.13, 0.78, minus 0.09, minus 0.06 and minus 0.08, minus 0.13, minus 0.09, 0.16, 0.08 and minus 0.05, minus 0.09, minus 0.06, 0.08, 0.05 and minus 0.01, and for test 5, minus 0.13, minus 0.08, minus 0.05, minus 0.01 and 0.27. Step 6. You add the values column wise and row wise and denote by symbols C and summation respectively to calculate the grand total as done in the first step. So the summation of each column and each row is 0.20 plus 0.13 plus minus 0.13 plus minus 0.09 plus minus 0.13, which makes the total 0.02. 0.13 plus 0.78 plus minus 0.09 plus minus 0.06 plus minus 0.08 is equal to minus 0.02. For the third test, minus 0.13 minus 0.09 plus 0.16 plus 0.08 minus 0.05, making the sum minus 0.03. Minus 0.09 minus 0.06 plus 0.08 plus 0.05 minus 0.01, making the total minus 0.03, and for test 5, minus 0.13 minus 0.08 minus 0.05 minus 0.01 plus 0.27, making the total 0, and therefore the grand total is minus 0.10. Step 7. Reflection. In the above matrix that we talked about, the grand total is negative, indicating the need of reflection, that is, the test vectors need to be extended in the opposite direction by maintaining their length. For each factor to account for as much variance as possible, the reflection of vectors is done so as to maximize the grand total. The method of reflection works best by inspecting the factor loadings in the residual matrix. The variables with the most negative factor loadings are reflected by changing the sign from positive to negative and vice versa, that is negative to positive, both row wise and column wise. Hence, a reflected residual matrix is obtained. Since the variables 3, 4 and 5 in the above residual matrix need reflection, therefore the reflected residual matrix is 0.20, 0.13, 0.13, 0.09 and 0.13 for test 1. For test 2, 0.13, 0.78, 0.09, 0.06, 0.08. Reflected 3 is 0.13, 0.09, 0.16, 0.08 and minus 0.05, For reflected test 4, 0.09, 0.06, 0.08, 0.05 and minus 0.01. For test 5, 0.13, 0.08, minus 0.05, minus 0.01 and 0.27. Therefore, when we summate each row and each column, the total for test 1 is 0.20 plus 0.13 plus 0.13 plus 0.09 plus 0.13 is equal to 0.68. For test 2, 0.13 plus 0.78 plus 0.09 plus 0.06 plus 0.08 is equal to 0.44. For reflected test 3, 0.13 plus 0.09 plus 0.16 plus 0.08 plus minus 0.05 is equal to 0.41. For reflected test 4, 0.09 plus 0.06 plus 0.08 plus 0.05 minus 0.01 is equal to 0.27, and for reflected test 5, 0.13 plus 0.08 minus 0.05 minus 0.01 plus 0.27 is equal to 0.42, making the grand total equal to 2.22. The second factor loadings is step 8. The second factor loadings are calculated in a similar way as for the first factor loadings, that is step 1 to step 3. Here the grand total is 2.22. N is equal to 1 divided by under root 2.22, and the under root of 2.22 is 1.49. Therefore, n is equal to 1 divided by 1.49, which is equal to 0.67. The second factor loadings for the tests are 0.68 into 0.67, which is equal to 0.46, 0.44 multiplied by 0.67 equal to 0.30, 0.41 multiplied by 0.67 is equal to 0.28, 0.27 multiplied by 0.67 is equal to 0.18, and 0.42 multiplied by 0.67 is equal to 0.28. Once the second factor loadings are obtained, the variables that were reflected are reflected back to their original signs. Hence, the second factor loadings are 0.46, 0.30, minus 0.28, minus 0.18 and minus 0.28. A similar method could be continued with the residual matrix and not the reflected residual matrix for third, fourth, fifth and the nth factor extraction. Hence, the obtained factor matrix for test 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, factor 1 the loadings are 0.58, 0.64, 0.62, 0.83 and 0.71, whereas factor 2 are 0.46, 0.30, minus 0.28, minus 0.18 and minus 0.28. How many factors to extract? In theory, the maximum number of factors that can be extracted from a set of correlation coefficients is equal to the number of variables or tests involved. For example, for a 10 by 10 correlation matrix, the maximum number of factors that can be extracted are 10. But the principle of factor analysis is to extract the common variance that can account for maximum variance. Hence, it becomes vital to decide the number of factors that can be extracted for a specific research problem. There are 3 methods which will help us to understand how many factors can be extracted for the research problem. These are the Fructer formula, the eigenvalue index and the residual correlation matrix. The Fructer formula. Fructer proposed the following formula to decipher the number of factors that can be extracted for a research problem. Number of factors is equal to 2n plus 1 minus under root 8n plus 1 divided by 2, where n is the number of variables in the correlation matrix. Let us understand this through an illustration. Identify the number of factors that can be extracted in a research problem with 15 variables. The solution for this problem is that the number of factors is equal to 2n plus 1 minus under root 8n plus 1 divided by 2, where n is equal to 15. Thus, the number of factors that can be extracted are 2 multiplied by 15 plus 1 minus under root 8 multiplied by 15 plus 1 divided by 2. This is equal to 31 minus 10.95 plus 1 divided by 2, which is equal to 21.05 divided by 2, making it equal to 10.525, and by rounding it up we get 11 factors. Hence, in the research problem with 15 variables, 11 factors are important to be extracted. The eigenvalue index. The number of factors that have to be extracted can be determined by calculating the eigenvalue index for each factor till an eigenvalue of 1 is obtained, that is, those factors are to be extracted whose eigenvalues are either 1 or more than 1. Factors with eigenvalue less than 1 are not considered for contributing to the variance and hence are not given importance. Statistical package for social sciences makes use of this method when extracting factors. Illustration. For the following factor matrix, determine the number of factors that can be extracted on the basis of the eigenvalue of the factors. For variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, the factor loadings on factor 1 are 0.81, 0.80, 0.92, 0.79, 0.17, 0.12 and 0.81. For factor 2, the loadings are 0.64, 0.69, 0.57, 0.04, 0.72, 0.11 and 0.23. For factor 3, the loadings are 0.64, 0.39, 0.17, 0.13, 0.11, 0.05 and 0.04. And for factor 4, these loadings are 0.01, 0.06, 0.11, 0.12, 0.16, 0.31 and 0.49. To calculate the eigenvalue of each factor, you square each loading and then you sum it. Therefore, the eigenvalue of factor 1 is equal to 0.81 square plus 0.80 square plus 0.92 square plus 0.79 square plus 0.17 square plus 0.12 square plus 0.81 square. Therefore, the eigenvalue of factor 1 is 3.466. The eigenvalue for factor 2 can be calculated by squaring 0.64 plus squaring 0.69 plus squaring 0.57 plus squaring 0.04 plus squaring 0.72 plus squaring 0.11 and 0.23, and therefore the eigenvalue of factor 2 is 1.80. The eigenvalue of factor 3 is equal to 0.64 square plus 0.39 square plus 0.17 square plus 0.13 square plus 0.11 square plus 0.05 square plus 0.04 square, which is equal to 0.70. The eigenvalue of factor 4 is equal to 0.01 square plus 0.06 square plus 0.11 square plus 0.12 square plus 0.16 square plus 0.31 square and plus 0.49 square, making the value 0.39. Since only those factors are accounted for whose eigenvalue is 1 or more than 1, therefore only factor 1 and factor 2 will be extracted. Hence, only two factors can be extracted from the given factor matrix. The residual correlation matrix. The residual correlation matrix is the third method by which one can decide when to stop extraction of factors for a given research problem. In this method, it is observed that when most of the correlation coefficients, that is more than 50% of the correlation coefficients in the residual correlation matrix are 0 or approaching 0, then one should stop further extraction of factors. Factor extraction will be continued in the following kind of a residual correlation matrix, where 0.40 minus 0.22 minus 0.23 and minus 0.10, for variable 2 minus 0.22, 0.46 minus 0.26 and minus 0.11, for 3 it is minus 0.23, minus 0.26, 0.69 and minus 0.09, and for 4 minus 0.10, minus 0.11, minus 0.09 and 0.95. In the following residual correlation matrix, further factor extraction will be stopped as most of the correlation coefficients are either 0 or approaching 0. So, for 1 it is 0.00, 0.01, minus 0.02, 0.00. For second it is 0.01, 0.00, 0.00 and minus 0.01. For third, minus 0.02, 0.00, 0.00, 0.01, and for fourth 0.00, minus 0.01, 0.01 and 0.00. A factor solution with as many factors as variables would score highly on the amount of variance accounted for and the accurate reproduction of correlations, but would fail on economy of description and explanatory power. The centroid condensation method of factor extraction involves calculation of the grand total by adding the correlation coefficients of each column. This total is then used to calculate n, which is multiplied with each column sum so as to obtain the first factor loadings of each test. Following this, a cross product matrix is obtained that is subtracted from the correlation matrix to obtain the residual correlation matrix. The residual correlation matrix may have to be reflected so as to maximize the grand total of the matrix. This is done by changing the signs of the factor loadings in the residual matrix from positive to negative or negative to positive for the variables both row wise as well as column wise. The second factor loadings are then calculated from the reflected residual factor loadings and they are reflected back to their original signs. Further, factor loadings may be obtained in a similar way. The decision about the number of common factors to extract and retain must steer between the extremes of losing too much information about the original variables on one hand and being left with too many factors on the other. Various criteria have been suggested to understand the number of factors that can be extracted. These are the Fructer formula method, the eigenvalue index method, and the residual correlation matrix method.